Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Denis Hinz, and I'm head of our business unit carbon fibers at SGL Carbon. This is a very special JEC for me since I've been in my new job for 5 days. Today is my 5th day on the job, and it's a very special time to meet our partners and our customers. And I'm very pleased to be here to talk about our sustainability efforts in carbon fibers. When people ask me what I do, I used to tell them I work in carbon. I work in carbon industry, and we supply our materials into the most high performance applications. It's in wind turbines. The carbon fibers are in brakes that brake the most powerful cars, and in many other applications. But more recently, I started telling them, you know, we do all this, so we're a very performance-based industry, but for us, the next big focus is to do all this with a lot less CO2 emission. And that's a very special topic. That's what I'm here today to talk about. Just to give you some background, we're a publicly traded company, so a lot of the information is available in our CSR reporting, for example, also in our ESG fact book, where we disclose many of our figures to have very good transparency here. We really strive for an impact on our CO2 emissions. So just to give you an idea of what we've already improved looking backwards, we have cut our emissions by 17% compared to the 2019 figures. And just to point out a few other highlights, we have built up life cycle assessment capabilities in all of our business units. And I'm very happy to highlight that these colleagues are also here today and tomorrow on our booth. So if you want to get some more details on our effort and our product, come talk to them. They're happy to speak with you. And last but not least, we have clearly communicated a climate roadmap to our partners and to the capital markets. I think now it skipped one slide. Yeah. We have committed to reduce the 2025 emissions by 50% versus 2019, and moving forward to become totally climate neutral by 2038. This is the top level decisions that were taken and that we're striving to implement. What does that mean? Just to give you an idea on the 2025, we're heavily focusing on green electricity, on-site solar, and also energy efficiency. Now, looking into specifically the business unit carbon fibers, I would like to share some details on the work approach that we're taking here. We believe that the carbon footprint evolves more and more to a mandatory property of our products. That means we have set up a detailed analysis and reporting on business unit level, and we have established a team of experts, as I already mentioned, to do that. The methodology we use is according to industry standards, and here you can see some tools that are typically used, including, for example, the Sphera tool for life cycle analysis. What we do in the product carbon footprint in terms of the boundary conditions of the system, we look into the so-called cradle to gate approach. That means we start with our raw materials, where we look at all the relevant data from our suppliers, for example. We include the transportation within our operations network, and also our production, which includes energy consumption and also other factors. What's important in this whole number scenario is that the transportation to customers and the customer use is out of scope in the cradle to gate approach that we chose for this analysis. So in carbon fibers, we focus on two main factors to reduce our CO2 footprint. If you look on the left-hand side, you can see the split of major CO2 contributors for a typical industry standard carbon fiber. There's a huge portion coming from the ACN raw material, the electricity, and the steam that is used in the precursor production mainly. And then there's some smaller contributors, including the natural gas and others. So what we've been doing is to focus mainly on a switch from electrical energy to renewable electricity. In particular, in our Moses Lake manufacturing facility that runs mainly on electrical powered ovens and furnaces. And the second lever is the substitution of natural gas by other sources of energy, for example, biomass. And the biomass is something that I would like to go a little bit more into detail today to give you an idea about our flagship biomass project at our Lavradio precursor site in Portugal. In Lavradio, which is the site where we produce our polyacrylonitrile precursor, we're switching the steam generation from a natural gas-based steam generation to a biomass approach. How does that work? Essentially, we used to use natural gas to produce the steam. This site runs mainly on steam as a major energy source to produce the precursor. With this switch, we installed biomass boilers to produce the steam with renewable sources. And just to give you an idea, it means a reduction in the CO2 footprint by roughly a factor of 10. And on top of that, we have some other advantages like reliability of supply and also a bit more flexibility in the sourcing in terms of how we purchase the energy source and how we consume it. And last but not least, for us, the precursor production is really important because it will carry a major chunk of the energy consumption in the carbon fiber value chain. How do we source the fuel for the biomass? So we're currently starting with industrial pellets. And this is very important because we have a huge advantage being located in Lavradio, Portugal. Why is that? Because Portugal is actually an exporter of wooden biomass. So there is biomass available. And more important to that, there's a biomass from responsible sources, from producers that hold the relevant certificates. And just looking into a 200-kilometer radius around our Lavradio site, which is just south of Lisbon, there is a lot of regional products available, which is of course a huge advantage for us to power this biomass project and to have a sustainable footprint. Also, the industrial pellets is one possibility, but the good thing is also with the biomass, you get more flexibility, as I already mentioned, in terms of what you use, how you source it, how you purchase it, and how you consume it. So apart from the industrial pellets, there's also other options to power the biomass boilers that we have in Lavradio. how does it look like? We just included 3 snapshots. The system was installed throughout last year. We had start of operations earlier this year in 2024, and what's interesting, just to get an idea, this is located on our Lavradio site. So the Lavradio site, it's a chemical site where we start with the acrylonitrile, polymerization, spinning, all the way down to the precursor. So it's a rather large chemical site, but even if you look at the dimensions, these are not small assets, the biomass boilers, and I just included a few pictures here so you get an impression on how this looks like, how it looks like, the biomass that we installed. What does that mean for our Sigrafil carbon fiber product? And I've included here a slide that should convey where we're coming from, where we're right now, and where we want to go in the future. So we're coming from, we've put here as a baseline at 100% the typical energy footprint of an industrial carbon fiber. And right now we have the possibility to produce a 50% reduced carbon fiber. And you can see the levers we use is to use electricity from renewables. The electricity is mainly consumed in the carbonization step at our plant in Moses Lake in the United States. And we also have a part of the steam generation that is powered with biomass. So that is kind of the step 1 you can see here, which gives us a reduction of roughly 50% over a standard carbon fiber. There's future and further improvement potential. As I already mentioned, this has a certain fraction of biomass that is used. Of course, there is a scenario where you run on full biomass. So you can see down in the graphic, the biomass gets fully green. And then on top of that, there's an additional step that we can do together with our suppliers, which is use a renewable bio-based acrylonitrile in the supply chain, because as you know, the acrylonitrile, which is a chemical product, carries another significant carbon CO2 footprint. So let me finish this by saying we have made tremendous efforts, and I think there's still some stuff to do down the road. But the most important message is today the 50% reduction is available. So we can produce this on an industrial scale. It's not a pilot project or anything like that. We have it available. And come talk to us at our booth. I'll also stick around here for a little bit longer. My colleagues are on our booth, who are the real experts, also in more detailed questions regarding to our carbon fibers, and also more detailed questions regarding to our ESG pathway. Thank you very much for your attention.